Welcome to the Blessed Teach Show, where we empower Christian patriots with truth. This is Rick, your host. These three actual links that he's put in here from Breitbart, Fox News, as well as a tweet from Trump, right? And he comes all the way and says all this type of stuff. And this is April 8th. It happened about 11 a.m. So here we go. Read in order. And it talks about this Breitbart article. The first Breitbart article goes into GOP gears up for next relief fight. Democrats want the federal government to take over elections. Well, why do you think that is? They know they've lost to Trump. They know the polls that are not rigged show them they've lost. So what are they trying to do here? They're trying to do mail-in ballots, trying to do vote harvesting, all that type of stuff. The GOP is gearing up for what could be a contentious battle over the next stage of coronavirus relief as Democrats continue to signal their desire to pursue a variety of changes related to the U.S. election. They have to find a way to cheat because they know that we've got control of the source voting machines, and there's a lot of illegal aliens that have left the country because they don't have, they're not getting a stimulus check because they didn't pay taxes last year, right? So they're leaving back to Mexico. So who's going to vote for these guys in November? They have to figure something else out. And so this goes through a whole list of everything they're trying to do. Here's a video by Nancy Pelosi. Again, what they first tried to put through was vote harvesting, and they tried to get for vote by mail. Trump's tweeting about that quite significantly today, actually, saying, no, it's okay for military and people who can't get there. You even got Hillary Clinton getting in the match, saying Congress needs to act to make voting by mail the norm going forward, with the specifics outlined by election expert Mark Elias below to make it accessible for all. 4 pillars of safeguarding voting rights to vote by mail: postage, free or prepaid; ballots postmarked by election day must count; signature matching laws reformed to protect voters; community orgs can help collect and deliver votes; sealed ballots. So this is a huge move by the criminal cabal, the same cabal that's knocking out Bernie and bringing in Joe. And they know that they are in trouble and they've got to get Trump out in November. And they can't do it legally, so they have to change the rules and in the confusion be able to change things up. And obviously this whole thing about counting votes after the election's over is another big thing. Wisconsin just put something in where in their special elections because of the COVID virus that things that were literally a week after the election can be counted. And that's obviously so they can figure out how many votes they need to rig it, and how many ballots they need to go change over in the living room of somebody to do all the vote harvesting. So these election laws just bring in massive fraud. People know that. I don't think this is going to be at risk. It's going to just be a battle. Here's Kamala Harris coming in. Thank you for highlighting the pressing issue in front of us. Election day is 211 days away. All states must start taking action to ensure every voice is heard. Every voice is heard is that they want it to be obviously election fraud, so they can actually even count make up for all the people who have left the country that used to vote for them maybe 2 or 3 times. So that's the first one, a very good meaty article by Breitbart. You'll see that link here. Again, I use qmap.pub. Don't miss that. It's a beautiful wealth of knowledge. Not only the Q post, it's got videos, it's got searching capabilities. qmap.pub needs to come into the psyche of Americans. Get that link out to your friends and family. Who knows, it might wake them up. There's a Fox News article here as well. Look at this. It says, Harmeet Dillon says, coronavirus and elections, Dems doing this to gain political edge. So a whole nother article besides Breitbart. Here you got Democrats are attempting to use the devastation caused by COVID-19 pandemic to take over elections. Again, and to do it so permanently. Not content with attacking President Trump and his tireless science, economic, and policy advisors, or gleefully drawing attention to the destruction of the roaring Trump economy, Democrats want to leverage this crisis to massively expand the power of Washington at the expense of the states and individual freedoms. Wholly lacking in irony, the very people who a month ago were calling President Trump a dictator, are now attacking him for not ordering an unconstitutional nationwide lockdown. The Constitution is often an inconvenient impediment when it comes to partisan politics, which is exactly why, in their wisdom, the framers drafted a constitution with checks and balances, including federalism, with partisan politicians are willing to throw overboard to gain a momentary perceived advantage. One of the many areas where Democrats want to expand Washington's power is over voting laws, undoing even the most basic protections for the integrity of our elections. Don't let them get away with this, guys. This is just so obvious. After their efforts to include such radical provisions, as well as the Green New Deal and other extreme expansions of federal power in the Phase 3 relief bill failed, they promised to try again with Phase 4. While frustrating, it should not be surprising. Federal legislation is simply one front in the Democrats' ongoing war to change the rules by which we vote to make it easier for Democrats to win, since they have realized quite correctly that most Americans are not interested in Medicare for all, socialized everything, and sacrificing thousands of jobs on the altar of climate change. Democrats have been trying to change the rules for elections for years through the courts. Consider what they are doing this week in Wisconsin. Wisconsin has an election scheduled for Tuesday for a variety of important races. The governor delayed it Monday morning, but that evening, the Wisconsin Supreme Court determined he had exceeded his authority under state laws, so now the election is going forward as scheduled for thousands of races. But they basically did it to where you could vote afterwards. So that meant that people could vote almost a week after Election Day. So they can count up and see how many votes they need to go stuff in the ballot box before Monday. Because the results will come out, obviously, of who's ahead. If it's a close enough race to rig, they can go do their vote harvesting. So this goes on and on as well. Talks about quite a few things. Great article. Again, Q's got the link right here in qmap.pub. Number 3 is Donald Trump's take on it. And he knows what's going on. Republicans should fight very hard when it comes to the statewide mail-in voting. Democrats are clamoring for it. Tremendous potential for voter fraud. And for whatever reason, doesn't work out well for Republicans. So that is on the Fox and Friends, and there we got Praying Medic with his little Trump with the Q hat. Deal with it, it says. Deal with it, Q plus right there. And so pretty funny to go just look at whatever Q's posted and scroll down on Twitter, and you'll see all kinds of fun things there. So then Q continues and goes, why did the World Health Organization make several strong recommendations not to impose a travel ban? Why did select Democrat governors ban the use of it's a hydroxychloroquine. I've been practicing with my wife, who's a dietitian who knows these stuff. Hydroxychloroquine. Key? ? Why does fake news push anti-hydroxychloroquine fear tactics regarding use? Why was impeachment pushed through the House fast? Did they count on Republicans blocking new witnesses? Time sensitive? Why? Did they actually know that they were going to have this pandemic? Is that going to come out? I think that might be coming out. That is going to be huge. When now that even your friends on the left and your friends that hate Donald Trump see their lives being disrupted and find out somebody did it on purpose. Whoa. When they find out who this cabal really is and that they actually did this, I think it's going to be major. Obviously, the answer to this question, the hydroxychloroquine is the malaria drug that works extremely well. We talked about it almost every night. And if they have a cure that's not the vaccine, they can't get the nanotech into our bloodstream. If they have a cure that happens too fast, the economy is going to come back before the election. So they are panicked about this drug that's working. Why did Biden become the front runner? Why was this critically important? What happened directly after? Who benefits the most? Everything at stake. When everything else failed. ... Do you attempt to cheat? Welcome to the Democratic Republic, People's Republic of China Party. The silent war continues. ... 6+ in brackets. Q of an article that says John talking about Durham. John is a dedicated prosecutor who sees things in absolute terms, said H. James Pickerstein, a former chief assistant U.S. attorney who hired Durham in the Connecticut office in the 1980s. Pickerstein said Durham relied on a good versus evil vision of the world while overseeing the probe of former Governor John G. Rowland. Thank you, Shadow Recon. Love the show. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much, Shadow Recon. And yeah, Gene does a great job. He does as well. So I really appreciate him. And I always look at the name of the file they put in here. This says Silent War JPEG. Right? So obviously they're saying that Durham is part of this silent war to take down all the deep state in these criminal investigations that are going on all around the FISA and expanding out to the whole criminal, basically the hammer. I think it'll get all the way to the hammer. I'm surprised we haven't learned it because of the COVID crisis probably about the surveillance that has gone on, not just Trump, but all the way to Cruz. And it will get back to almost every political enemy of Obama during the 8 years. They used the hammer illegally to spy on everybody. Right? So that is all, I believe, going to come out eventually. But right now, we just know they spied on Trump. And we're going to see they spied on Cruz. And we're going to see all the criminality that really is covering up what? Satanic pedophile ring. Which is just sounds crazy to people, but that's exactly what's happening here. Now we got 2 links here he puts. He gets this National Review and then a BBC News. The last trusted prosecutor in Washington. So this was in November of 2019. And it's basically talking about Mr. Durham. And there's actually an audio here. Pretty great article. John Durham is the legendary lawman digging into how the intelligence probe of Donald Trump started. Great picture of him looking like he's a serious dude. So that's something that is scaring the deep state. Again, you can find everything about that on the QAnon qmap.pub. qmap.pub. That's the way I would send all your friends and family to that because it's got such great information. So in fact, if you just look at the top of this, when I first came in, there's just amazing information there. So that was the National Review about the trusted prosecutor of John Durham. And this is a BBC article as well. And it's shown that this is not going away. So even though they've delayed this because of the coronavirus, we still got great information. Here's a profile of John Durham. This was an August of 2009 article. So we're going way back. Another 10 years from the 2019 article, when John Durham, the prosecutor tasked with investigating whether the CIA officers or contractors broke laws while interrogating terrorism suspects overseas, is known as publicly shy but dogged and successful. So he doesn't like the public spotlight, but he is a bulldog when it comes to actually getting something done. So a great little article if you want to get some more detail about John Durham. Go ahead and dig into that. I'll just take a couple of quotes. During the course of that investigation, Mr. Durham has gained great familiarity with much of the information that is relevant to the matter at hand. Mr. Durham is a career Department of Justice prosecutor who has built his reputation pursuing organized crime cases in Connecticut. So this guy is a bulldog, and so it's awesome to see. Somebody saying that the Pope has removed the title Vicar of Christ from his name. Interesting. Yeah, I saw a video on that where he actually basically was talking in his name. It's like and removed the whole Vicar of Christ. It's like, wow, that is a satanic individual there, right, guys? We're gonna learn some pretty ugly stuff about that. I apologize for those of you who have not investigated that for yourself, but go think for yourself. Go search on this and see what he's done to not only the Lord's Prayer, how he's talking to himself like he's God himself, how he's meeting with Muslims to try to get a one world religion going. And this is Gene's done research on him too. He's an evil person behind that title of the Pope. It's going to be real interesting to see that come out and in the fall come out. And Q talks about that as well. So that is 3910. Go ahead, Gene. You have something on that?
Yeah, I actually saw his initiation into the upper degrees. I have still pictures of it. They're old, they're black and white, where they go to the pyramid in Egypt and have 13 little girls dance around him. And then he does some pretty brutal things and then takes the blood that's resulting into the sarcophagus and does a 3-day ritual ceremonial oath to Satan.
Yeah, well, thank you for censoring that for front stage. I was worried there for a second. So
Yeah,
the backstage, we've heard a lot more ugly details about that. So, but yeah, guys, there's some very evil stuff going on in the Vatican, and this is, it's not just the Catholic Church. There's a lot of pedophilia going on in a lot of the what we call the deep state church, right? It's not just the Vatican. You just listened to the Blessed to Teach show. You're now empowered with the truth.